Hi there, and welcome to the SnapShots podcast, where we share with you snapshots of photography tips, connecting with other vendors, and much more. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm Trityca, your other host. Today we're going to talk about why we do photography and the purpose of our podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
So, Trityca, how did you get started with photography?
Okay, so you know how everyone had those point and shoot cameras? Mine was hot pink, and I loved it dearly. And I used to do these embarrassing, I thought they were so cool, but selfie photo shoots of myself. It was like right before iPhones became popular. Did I mention that I was 11 when I did this? So embarrassing. And yeah, I just did my parents' backyard and I'd do these and I like dress up. And I think I did like 3 or 4 of these. And I feel like I had a tripod too. I was really high tech, honestly. Like that was pretty good. Anyway,
High tech 11-year-old with
that's
the
like
tripod.
the first time that I was like, oh, I like taking photos and I like taking photos of myself. And then I did like yearbook in 7th grade or whatever. And that was my first time with a DSLR and I didn't know what I was doing. I'm pretty sure it was on auto the whole time and I took photos of like track and field or whatever. And then I forgot about taking photos until college. And when I was in college, I went to school at WSU and I studied apparel design because I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer my whole life. And I didn't. But I did graduate. But during my 3 years there, I had these 2 friends and they had cameras and it was like a fashion school. So like photo shoots are part of it. Like you'd make clothes and then you take photos of the clothes and submit it for a project. And so we would end up doing like these photo shoots too. Like I never took the photos, but I like model for them. And then after I graduated, I got a job, like a big girl job for 10 months. And then COVID happened and I got laid off. And then it was like wintertime and sad. I'm sure we all felt that way.
Oh, for sure.
And I kept seeing these ads on Facebook for this couple that teaches photography online. And I was like, that looks interesting. That would be cool, I guess, as like a hobby. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh, you know what? I think I actually kind of want to do this. And other than that, like I have had no previous experience with like legit photography. So it's just all, I learned everything online. And then that was in November of 2020. And then I bought my first camera in February of 2021. And then like hard launched my business March 2021. And then here we are now. It's March 2023.
Wild.
Ah, that's crazy. That's pretty much it. It's not anything grand.
What kind of photography do you specialize in?
Kind of photography, mostly weddings. I feel like that's what I enjoy doing the most. It's fun. I just like the excitement of a wedding day and like all the little parts that go into it, and it's mostly when you just focus on the couple. I think that's fun. I like couples photography. I should preface with that. And then like weddings. So like engagement, couple shoots, weddings.
Yeah. Proposals.
Proposals.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, wedding season for us photographers or for any other wedding vendor is typically like May all the way through like mid-October or like
Yeah.
mid-April to mid-October.
Whenever the weather's nice.
Yeah, that's when most people get married, and so we all call that wedding season.
I did have one wedding that I second shot in January, and it was beautiful and snowy. But I wouldn't do too many of those because it's so gosh darn
So
cold.
chilly. And then engagement season, when like most people are getting ready for their wedding and they're looking for wedding dresses and their suits and their tuxes, would be like October to mid-April. So that's our cycle there.
Yep.
What is your editing style?
My editing style is, I used to think I'd want to be like light and airy, but I kind of, I don't know, it's like a mix between that and like true to life, I'd say. But I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved over the 2 years that I've shot too, because I think my colors used to be now undesirable to what I prefer now, back in the beginning. But now, I mean, like, yeah, just true to life color and like light and bright and happy.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, how did you get started in photography?
Actually, now that I think about it, I also had one of those really simple point and shoot cameras. Mine was red though. And I took exclusive photos of my cats.
Of cats. So you were a cat photographer back in the day.
Yeah, so I didn't take photos of myself because I was like, I don't know how to do that. That seems way too hard. And I just didn't do it.
Oh, I have a point about actually real quick. Can I make before I forget?
Yeah.
I posted one of my photo shoots online that I took of myself, and someone literally told me I was narcissistic.
Whoa.
This was like right before selfies were popular. And so like and he went to my school. And I still think about that. It's been like 15 years. Anyway, that's not the point. Keep going, Grace. I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, yeah. So I also had a point and shoot camera. It was red, and I took pictures of cats, or like my cats.
Just random cats.
I only took photos of my own cats, but I didn't know how to take photos of myself. So I just like was like, whatever. I don't want to see that anyways. And then, so I got my senior pictures back from high school.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them and being like, whoa, there's no way that's me. That's crazy. I felt like I was super cool.
Super hot, Grace.
Yeah. And I was like,
that's probably weird to say because you were 16.
but I was so excited after getting them back. And I was like, photographers can make people feel this good about themselves. That's crazy. So I got this super simple DSLR Nikon and started taking photos of other people, like my friends mostly. And I was like, this is so fun. Everyone always seemed really happy after they got their photos. So I was like, this is a great hobby. And so fast forward, I'm going into college also at WSU.
Go Cougs.
And was taking photos with my friends. And I was like, this is really fun still. And I was like, great hobby. Still just great hobby. I never really wanted to do it as a profession. I actually went to school and got my degree in biology. And then fast forward again, still not doing photography as my main thing yet. And it's 2021, still COVID, and I'm planning my wedding, and I'm working in the hospitals as a certified nursing assistant. And my plan was to get some experience there and then go to an accelerated nursing program. And I think at some point near the end of it, I was like, this is too much. I can't keep working in this hospital and plan my wedding. So I quit my job. And then after I got married, I was like, okay, I can't go back now.
Right.
And ended up just being like, okay, well, what do I do? And I am Catholic, so I prayed a lot about it. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I just need like some guidance here and like open my heart and my mind to whatever you want, Lord. And I think pretty soon after that, I had a couple friends ask me to take their grad photos for WSU because they were also graduating. And I was like, oh, right, I know how to do this. And then they paid me, and I was like, okay, that is a pretty clear sign.
Yeah,
to me.
there you go. Oh, that's so nice.
And so after that, I did some more photography jobs. I saved up. I got my first like big girl camera. And I have the Sony A7 IV. I have two of those. And then I decided that I would specialize in wedding photography as well, which is how Trityca and I met.
Yes.
This is my first real start with wedding season because last year I kind of just second shot a little bit here and there until I got established with a photographer. And yeah, so I'm also doing video now too because I was like, that sounds really fun. And I feel like in my mind, they kind of went hand in hand. Video is really scary, but I'm really excited to be learning. So that's how I got started and that's what I specialize in.
Oh yeah, Grace, what's your editing style?
Okay, it's kind of hard because I don't feel like I know yet. I feel like it's really hard to just I'm not light and airy. I would say I'm mostly true to color, but like the lighter side of true to color. I think I would really like to specialize in like fine art, which is a lot closer to light and airy, but it's still a little bit darker. Yeah, I think I would say I'm true to color.
I'd say so too.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, our styles are similar but also different. Like if you have them next to each other, they're obviously two different photographers.
Yeah, like they're still very bright, but yours are warmer than
yeah, mine's
mine.
warmer. That's what it is. So I keep hitting it. I'm so sorry.
Now we're gonna talk about like SnapShots and like why we started it and like the whole point of it. And I'm really excited to talk about that because it all happened like fairly quickly. Hi friends, this is Grace. Just interrupting this conversation real quick to remind you that you can watch this episode on YouTube and listen on Patreon. If you want, you can also follow both Trityca and I on Instagram. Links to all of these are down below in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. Now back to the show.
When did we become friends? July? August of last year?
August of last year, I asked if you would meet me for coffee, and then you were like, oh, I also have a wedding later.
That I'm shooting in like 3 hours. And you're like, I can come if you want. I'm like, cool, sounds good. And then we spent like 8 hours that day together, and we've been friends ever since. And then Grace and I talk like every day on Instagram. We send reels back and forth. And among those, I don't know, was it like 3 months ago that you messaged me asking if I wanted to record?
Yeah, it was about 3 months
3
ago.
months ago? And I was like, yeah, in theory, that sounds fun. Like, I like the idea of it. But
And
then
then
I
she
was
was like,
like,
what do we talk about? And I sent her like 10 things that had immediately come to my
I
mind.
was like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds super
And then
fun.
like we didn't do anything about it
But it was
until
like,
like 2.5 months
isn't
later.
that such a funny thing? I feel like friends do that all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, this business idea is so good. Like, what if we did this? And then
they don't do it.
you don't do anything. So here we are.
We're actually doing it.
Welcome to SnapShots.
Yeah. So I asked her if she would record some videos with me. We got some really great content and feedback on Instagram from like our fellow vendors and friends. And so we decided just to make it real because the audio in that wasn't amazing. And then also both of our husbands were really supportive. They were like, you guys are funny, just go for it. And so here we are.
I think they legally have to think we're funny, but I think we're funny.
I think we're funny.
I mean,
so part of why we started this is so that we could share photography tips. I feel like between two people, especially, we have a lot that we can just like tell new people.
oh yeah, things we've learned in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, we've learned a lot.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. And like, so whether you're a seasoned pro or you're new at this, we just want to share like our take on photography. And if you are new, yep. I had a thought there and it just like left my brain.
I could hear it leaving.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh my gosh. I'd like to think that we have wisdom to share.
I think even though we're still relatively new.
Yeah, we're only like 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah. This is my first full wedding season.
Yeah, this is my second.
So I would say that even though we're still new, we have learned a lot, whether it's together or on our own. And we're just going to talk about that. We're going to share that.
Other photographers. So we're going to invite other vendors and other photographers onto our podcast so they can share their nuggets of wisdom, their little snapshots into what they know about what they do with their businesses.
Yeah, because even different photographers, videographers, or like even florists, there's so much that they can contribute. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and they have different experiences than we do too, which is good, obviously.
Which leads into the next part of this is like why you should connect with other vendors. We're going to talk about that extensively. Real briefly though, you should connect with other vendors because you'll learn faster.
100%. It's just a good idea to build connections outside of yourself to help yourself grow, but also it's way more fun when you're not alone. And the best part about photography, especially I'll just talk about weddings, is that second shooting is a thing and you can learn firsthand from other photographers. And like most people, I would say, are willing to share what they know.
For those of you who don't know, second shooting is where you are not the lead photographer of a wedding. So you have a lead shooter who's calling the shots, they're managing the timeline, they're directing the couple the most, and you're there to...
And you're just there.
And you're...
You just hold your camera the whole day.
And you're there to capture those same moments, but from different angles.
Different angles, different moments too, because sometimes you don't need two people taking photos of the same thing.
Yeah, if the bride and the groom are getting ready in separate places, but at the same time.
You can catch more candids in between moments that the lead photographer might not get because they're too busy directing.
Yeah. In general, that's what second shooting is. We're going to talk about that more in a different episode though.
Yeah, I love second shooting. It's so fun.
Yeah. Okay, we're also going to produce YouTube videos. So if you're listening, you can also just tune into YouTube and watch this episode if you want. But we're going to try and film almost all of our episodes. So that's exciting. Sometimes too, we might do only YouTube videos. So one of our goals is to film us in an actual live setting of us taking photos.
Yeah, like
of
a couple
couples.
session. That'd be so fun. It'll be fun to bring insight to who we are as photographers and what it looks like to take photos for a living.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's inspiring or just fun.
Yeah.
Either or.
Or both.
Or both. You can have it both ways. Especially if anyone's new and they want to see what it's like. I mean, again, we're only like 2 or 3 years in each, but you grow a lot really fast.
Yeah.
I'd say if you work constantly.
Yeah. We're also going to talk about equipment and what equipment we use to shoot. Both of us, I can tell you right now, are Sony users, but we can tell you more in depth in different episodes, like why we chose Sony, the specifications of our cameras, and how that compares to like Canon or Nikon, or even like the film cameras like Fujifilm.
I really want to get a film camera.
Yeah.
I know nothing about film. I feel like I should, like as a photographer, I probably should, but I don't.
Yeah. And then when we have guests, we can compare our gear to theirs.
Yeah.
Which I think is also really insightful for people who are actively trying to find new gear or like to switch cameras.
Yeah. Oh, I love watching. When I first started, I used to watch so many comparison videos because like I decided I wanted to get a Sony because mirrorless technology. And this was like right before Canon came out with like their R5, R6 series. And I had a thought and I completely forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I used to watch like comparison videos for like lenses and camera bodies for like 3 months. That's all I did before I bought my first camera. I was like, I don't want to make a mistake. Like it's like $2,000 to $3,000 that I'm spending, and I didn't have any money like made at that point in photography, obviously, because I didn't have a camera. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's such a big investment. And then yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, those videos are fun. I like those. That was my point to what I was saying. One of the things we plan on doing is doing edit comparisons between Grace and I. So we'll take the exact same photo and then show you how each of us edit it in different ways. And so same photo to start, 2 different photos to end.
You guys are going to see a lot of both of our edits, and I'm really excited for that.
Me too, Grace. I'm really excited for that too. Okay, moving on. Grace,
moving on.
What is the purpose of life?
Love.
Oh, that's deep. Okay. Second question. Let's talk about why we continue to take photos, because we know why we started to take photos, but why do we keep going 2 to 3 years down the line?
Yeah. So again, like I started because I wanted to make people feel good about themselves and everything. I think the reason why I keep going though now is still that, actually. That's still a really good reason. And then also because I personally believe that everyone deserves nice photos.
Yes.
Which is, it kind of is difficult because my pricing isn't as high as I think people have told me it should be, for instance.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be, because I want people to still be able to afford, like, still afford my services so that they can still have really nice, high quality photos. Yeah. So like I've had a lot of people tell me that I should raise my prices, and I've very clearly said no, I don't want to do that, so that people, one, who really want to work with me will want to work with me, and two, so that people who can can't afford a different photographer, for instance, still might be able to afford me. And I want to be able to give people their nice photos for their special day, for family events, for their senior photos, anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So awesome. I guess in general, I'm doing it because I love it, and I love making people happy.
Wow, Grace. I was gonna say I do it for the money. So
I was about to say, like, what do you keep going?
Just kidding. Well, that's actually not a lie. I definitely do it to make an income, but that's not the main reason. I guess I started taking photos because I was bored.
Yeah,
truly.
Like middle of COVID,
when I think about it, yeah, and then it just turned into a passion because I knew that I would like doing it, and now I don't know. I just love, like what you were saying. I just love giving people awesome photos that they'll have forever.
Yeah.
Oh, especially for your wedding day.
Yeah. I think one of my main goals is to try and make my photos look timeless so that people can look back at their photos and be like, I remember that exactly how that went down.
Yeah.
Like it's not any different, you know? Not that other photographers do that. What's your greatest inspiration for taking photos?
My greatest inspiration? So I'm an avid K-drama watcher.
Korean dramas, for those of you who don't know.
As is Grace. It's one of the things we bond over.
I think when I found out that Trityca watches K-dramas, I was so ecstatic and immediately sent her.
Start?
I have no idea. I think you were like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, just watching this K-drama. And you were like, which one?
Yeah, that's probably how it went down. Immediate bond. Like we were like, yep, okay. Friends for life.
So I like then proceeded to send her 5,000 Instagram reels about K-dramas.
That's 75% of our conversation is just Instagram reels that relate to K-dramas.
Yeah.
And photography, I guess we also.
Not as many for photography.
Not as many. Because we have the podcast
it's like
for that.
1 to 10 ratio.
Yeah, probably. No, that was too personal. No one needs to know that. Just kidding. But no, I like to think that I draw inspiration from like romantic movies, K-dramas. I really only watch K-dramas, but like I don't know, they're just so romantic, especially Hometown Cha Cha Cha. Like it's like a beach town, golden hour. It's just so romantic, and the end scenes are like so perfect.
They're so perfect
and beautiful. Oh yeah, that's probably my favorite. And then there's that one photographer on Jeju Island that we like to send like their work pops up like all the time on our Instagrams, probably because we interact with it, and so then it just keeps showing up. But it's just it's so cute, and that I feel like is a lot of more candid looking moments. And so I'd like to think that one day I'll be my perfect ideal photographer who draws perfect inspiration and nails it perfectly from the things I have in my head. But otherwise, I have the basics that I learned from courses that I've taken. I'm just thinking like inspiration for like posing, but it's more than that. It's like the feeling that you get when you look at the photos.
Yeah, that's definitely more important to me as I continue to keep going in photography and videography, is that I want people to look at their media that I've given to them and be able to feel what they were feeling in that time, like when I was taking that photo.
Yeah. Oh, and I draw inspiration from the person I'm taking photos from too, because you can't ask someone to do like the same poses that you ask someone else to do perfectly.
Oh yeah, because every story is different for an individual, and every couple's story is different. And we don't want you to feel like everyone else, because you're not.
Yeah. And our bodies are different, and you look different than someone else. And
yeah. I think I also draw a lot of inspiration from K-dramas. It's hard not to. Again, we
consume so much of it. It's like our waking thoughts are just like K-dramas. And so that kind of translates into our work a little bit.
Yeah. And I also draw a lot of inspiration from like the wedding dress industry, because I help Rose Lily Bridal and Tuxedo, which is a bridal shop in Tri-Cities. Because I help them with their social media, I see a lot of editorial based.
Yeah, you see a lot of editorial type photo shoots, because that's what it is. It's like a professional model taking photos in a perfect dress. Oh, whoa, English dress. An English dress. What am I saying?
Anyways, so
editorial photography is definitely a good inspiration. Yes.
Not that I want to be an editorial wedding photographer.
Like high fashion.
Yeah. But
it's fun
because of the K-dramas, I feel like a lot more like fine art and whimsical is the direction that I want to start going towards. But outside of just watching K-dramas and everything, I have narcolepsy, so whether it's on purpose or not, I fall asleep pretty often. There is medication I can take, and I do take that when I am actually leaving my house. So it sounds like I don't leave my house. So I do take my medication when needed. So no worries there on your wedding day. I am awake, I swear.
It's true.
Yep. Let's see. I have 2 cats. I spend a lot of time with my cats and my husband. And I like going on hikes. And again, like I work at Rose Lily Bridal and Tuxedo, so I love being there too. What do you do?
What do I do outside of photography? What do I do outside of photography? I guess what have I been doing the last like 4 months when it's been cold outside and we don't take a lot of photos? I like to sit in the sun like a plant. And I like to read romance novels and watch K-dramas, obviously. We've already established that. What else do I do? Oh, I have 4 cockatiels.
And a husband.
I do have a husband too, yes. Who's getting there, Grace?
I'm sorry. I just thought it'd be really funny.
How could I forget? He's sitting at home right now working. I guess that's 3. That's 3 fun facts. I like sushi.
Ooh, yeah. I love sushi.
I love sushi with fruit on it. I like sushi with fruit on it. Raw fish is like good too. Fruit. Fruit.
Yeah, that concludes episode 1. It wasn't really too much about like photography tips or anything. It was mostly just so that you could get to know us.
A little bit get to know us, yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys had a great time.
Thank you for tuning into our first episode of Snapshot.
Yeah, we hope you had a great time getting to know a little bit more about us. And we can't wait for next time. So, bye.
Bye.